Abiy and Isaias clash over Tigray. Tensions rise amid struggle for regional dominance. Addis Ababa, more than 2 years after the Tigray war formally ended with the signing of the Pretoria Agreement in November 2022, tensions are resurfacing, this time between former allies, Ethiopian Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed and Eritrean President Isaias Afwerki. While the agreement, officially known as the Cessation of Hostilities Agreement, COHA, brought an end to open warfare, the peace remains fragile. Now, a fresh power struggle is unfolding over control of Tigray's military forces, raising fears of renewed conflict in the Horn of Africa. Diverging victories. Ethiopia framed its victory as the defeat of the Tigray People's Liberation Front, TPLF, while Eritrea celebrated the weakening of both the TPLF and Ethiopia's own national army, the Ethiopian National Defense Forces, ENDF. According to Professor Alex Duvall of the World Peace Foundation, Isaias saw both the TPLF and the ENDF as threats to his regional influence, obstacles he aimed to neutralize through the war. As the Pretoria Agreement compelled Eritrean forces to withdraw from Tigray, Isaias expressed frustration. In a national TV interview, he lamented that Eritrea had been frustrated by the peace deal, which derailed his ambitions to keep Ethiopia destabilized and the TDF weakened. Rift over Assab. The political alliance between Abiy and Isaias has since soured. Ethiopia suspended flights to Asmara, and state media began calling for direct port access, reigniting Ethiopia's long-held interest in the Red Sea and particularly the Assab Port. Despite hopes that Eritrea would grant access to Assab after the war, Abiy's efforts, including reviving Ethiopia's navy and building roads to the coast, have yielded little. During the Adwa Victory Day celebrations, Ethiopian Army Chief General Birhanu Jula hinted at aspirations to join the Red Sea community, signaling that Ethiopia's geopolitical focus is shifting seaward. Both countries have reportedly mobilized troops along their shared border, with Tigrayan interim official General Tsakin Gebretensi warning of imminent war between Ethiopia and Eritrea. A dangerous gamble. Though speculation is growing about Ethiopia's interest in capturing Assab by force, analysts argue that such a move would be risky. The ENDF, weakened and overstretched by domestic conflicts, is unlikely to threaten Eritrea militarily. Instead, Abiy appears to be seeking control over the Tigray Defense Forces, TDF, by politically dismantling the TPLF and leveraging the Pretoria Agreement to demobilize the TDF. Critics argue that the Tigray interim administration, led by Getachew Reda, is aiding this strategy by aligning closely with the federal government rather than defending Tigrayan interests. So far, the federal government has failed to fulfill basic commitments, such as the safe return of internally displaced persons, IDPs. Meanwhile, Getachew's administration is accused of using the threat of renewed war to delay meaningful progress on the ground. Should Abiy gain control of Tigrayan forces, observers fear he could remobilize them to confront Eritrea, Isaias's worst-case scenario. Quiet meetings and strategic alignments. Rumors of high-level contacts between Eritrean officials and senior TDF commanders are beginning to surface. Both TPLF leader Debretsion Gebremichael and Getachew Reda confirmed that a post-war meeting took place between TPLF representatives and Eritrean officials in a third country, reportedly with Abiy's consent. Such engagements suggest a possible attempt to prevent Abiy from using the TDF against Eritrea. If true, it could signal an emerging alignment between former enemies, the TPLF and Eritrea, united by a shared interest in checking Abiy's ambitions. A precarious peace. Within Tigray, the political situation is becoming increasingly volatile. The interim administration and the TPLF remain at odds, while federal forces implicated in wartime atrocities are being invited back under the guise of restoring order. On March 12th, the interim administration requested assistance from the federal government and called on Tigrayan youth to resist TDF commanders allegedly trying to dismantle the administration. The next day, Getachew echoed federal rhetoric in a press briefing, drawing widespread backlash. His attempts to shift blame for the slow implementation of the Pretoria Agreement from the federal government to his TPLF rivals were seen by many Tigrayans as a betrayal. In contrast, Fellow interim Vice President General Tedros Worried stated that the Tigrayan side had discharged our responsibility 100% and placed the blame squarely on Addis Ababa. Regional consequences. As Ethiopia and Eritrea posture for another confrontation, the Pretoria Agreement teeters on the edge of collapse. Abiy's alleged strategy of weakening the TPLF before fulfilling key obligations, such as the restoration of Western Tigray and return of IDPs, appears to be eroding trust among Tigrayans. Global powers, particularly the United States, are being urged to act swiftly. Diplomatic engagement is needed not only to prevent another war, but also to ensure the full implementation of the peace deal. For the people of Tigray, who endured war, famine, and genocide, the stakes could not be higher. Only a sustainable and inclusive peace will prevent the region from slipping back into violence.